Now, from 4029 News, this is On the Record.
Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly program, 4029 News On the Record. I'm Yuna Lee. We're already looking ahead to the November 2026 elections. Voters in Arkansas will see several big races on the ballot, including governor, U.S. House, and U.S. Senate. The primary election will be held on March 3rd, 2026. The general election is set for November 3rd, 2026. Let's start with the Senate seat. Here are the candidates we've talked to and confirmed their plans to run. This includes incumbent Republican Senator Tom Cotton and Democrats James Russell and Holly Schaffner. Here's part of our recent conversation with Schaffner. Okay, well, Holly, thank you so much for joining us today here on 4029 News on the Record. We want to get to know you from scratch. So tell us a little bit about who you are and your family's history here in Arkansas.
Well, I am a sixth-generation farmer. I am from Newport, Arkansas, a little bit south, actually. So right now we are in a farming community called Schaffner, Arkansas. I don't know if you saw the sign.
We did. Named after your family, I'm assuming.
From the north side, yes. and that's actually pretty common for these multi-generational farmers to have communities where, you know, we've lived and farmed here for over 150 years. And I grew up in this house, actually, where we now have our office. So I grew up in this house. My grandfather lived here. It was built in 1901 by my great uncle. I mean, this is the kind of history that my family has here. And for me, I grew up on this farm. I worked with my parents in the field. They both farmed as well. And they taught me how to grow soybeans, corn, rice, wheat, cotton, grain sorghum. And let's see, this would have been 9 years ago that I was able to come home and take over the farm for myself. And I have been doing that for 9 years until, you know, this spring when we were forced to close because of the economic situation.
So during those 9 years, was it a no-brainer that you were going to take over your family's farm?
It turned out to be, yeah. My parents were very, I think, they encouraged me to leave, to go off and do other things. My mom told me later that, you know, farming's a really difficult profession. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't control a lot of things in farming, the weather being the primary one. And it's tough, and they saw bad years too. And I think they wanted me to go out and see the world before I came home. And my dad later told me, he said, I always knew you'd come back. And I thought, that's amazing, because I didn't know that, not until about 9 years ago. My dad has dementia, and he started showing signs. And that's when my mom called and said, hey, if this is something you want, you should come home. And so I did. And I got to work with my mom for 3 years before she retired. So she trained me up. Before, you know, the business of farming was not something I did as a kid. As a kid, I just irrigated rice, put in, you know, spills, scouted cotton with my dad, chopped a ton of weeds in my life. But the business of farming is what I learned from my mom.
Wow. So before you came back for 9 years, what did you do? What kind of adventures did you go on?
You know, my parents encouraged me to go lots of places, and I was very lucky to be able to do that. I got a full ride scholarship to Vanderbilt University. I actually got that scholarship because of where I'm from. There was a scholarship just for Arkansans, just for Arkansas students, and they prioritized kids from rural areas. So I got to go to Vanderbilt, which we wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. Got a great education, decided to come home. That was right during the economic crisis of 2008 and 2009. There weren't a lot of jobs available. So my dad actually encouraged me to go to the newly formed Clinton School of Public Service.
And we'll hear more from Schaffner next week. But still to come today, we're continuing our election coverage. We talk to more candidates across the area.